Hello, my family community. So, this weekend is fixing to be a very interesting weekend for us. I'm going to take you around, show you what we're doing to prepare for this, and a few other things that you may run into on your indoor plants that I thought might help you as well, that I am running into, and I'll explain how I'm dealing with it, how it might help you, and what's causing them. So right now, as you see, put up our greenhouse cover because here in the upper end of the deep south, unfortunately, we're going to get lows in the 20s tomorrow night, even down to 21, if not colder. So here we are trying to protect what we've got. I'm gonna go around showing you a few things that we are doing to prepare for this cold the best that we can to try and save our crops, even though they are cool weather plants. So, and hubby, he's rearranging all his bee boxes into another area. We've got a lot going on this summer that we're going to be bringing up with you, but for right now, we're doing preparations we didn't expect to get this low on. So even with cool weather plants, this freeze coming in could really do some damage. So I'll show you what we're doing to protect them the best we can. I mean, that's all we can do. And if worse comes to worse, it's called reseeding, and I will consider doing so. So let me take you around and show you what we're doing to prepare and the advancements of how things are growing right now for us. Okay, so inside this greenhouse cover, we have our bok choy right here, and you see how well they're advancing. And then back here we have our cauliflower. Now we did cover it because even temps that low can do some damage to these cool weather crops. And not just the fact that it's going to be 21, but we've got wind, and wind can make this even colder. We're doing the best that we can. In here I have room to put some of the potted plants I'll show you inside here to protect them as well. So all we could do is pray for the best right now, and I'll take you around to some of these areas out here. I'll show you the greenhouse right now that we covered, and I basically uncovered them, but I thought this was the best thing for me to do. Thank God for my hubby who helped me. So that's what we did with this greenhouse here. And then over here is our radishes, and you see how much they're growing. As a matter of fact, we are actually starting to put on radishes here. I don't know if you can see that. I'm trying to, yeah. Right here's some. We've got some more growing here. We've got another one right here. So we got radishes and stuff coming up too. So I'm gonna try to do a hoop over this to protect this one. Like over here, let me take you to the spinach and show you what I'm doing here. So I made this hoop, and I'm gonna put a covering over these because this plant back here is our anise hyssop, and in here is all of that spinach coming up. So I want to do what I can to protect them. Now I'm gonna take you on the other side of what we planted and show you what we're fixing to cover too. So over here is our kale, our baby kale. This is my pitiful Swiss chard that I'm trying to take care of. I may end up having to reseed these. So, and then here, which I'm not going to cover these. I'm going to take my chances, but this is all the bunching onions that we planted. They're doing fantastic. And finally, this is what breaks my heart. Finally, right here, you see all this lettuce? I need to try to protect these because they're delicate as well at this point because they're babies. So we took some wire and made a hoop over the top of these, and I'm going to do my best to find something to cover this with. And then over here, this is one of the pots with the kale that's going in the greenhouse because this is all our baby arugula, and they finally just did a beautiful job of popping up. So I'm doing what I can to save our crops. And then I have turnips that I'm going to put in the greenhouse as well in the same factor in these pots. So this is currently what we're doing, and it's got us concerned. Let me take you to over here. See all these blooms that happened on our peach trees? Well, I don't know if we're going to get peaches or not this year. So we'll see what happens out of all this. But currently, this is where we're at on the outdoors of what we've already planted out here. And I planted these because they are cool weather crops. Now, I had some sporadic stuff. I actually pulled this, if you remember, and I have sporadic lettuce growing up in here even. And then over here, I have cilantro growing, so it's crazy. I have other places where lettuce popped up as well. So I've got my lettuce, just now keeping everything alive. I also have my pomegranate tree over here. I'm going to have to put this in the greenhouse as well. It started taking and putting on all its leaves, so I'm going to take this indoors. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to do that right now. And then I'm going to take you inside and show you some things that you might run across with pepper plants while you're preparing to get them outdoors. And we grow indoors, you know, on some of our tomatoes and peppers, and then transition them. So I'll show you some of the things that can happen and how to take care of it. Okay, so this is what I'm finding out about my jalapeno pepper. Now you see it's only about maybe a foot and a half tall, almost 2. No, not even that. It's about a foot. So I'm noticing as it's growing, it's starting to set on little flowers. This is a no-go for me. The reason for that, though, and I happen to pull it out of its soil, and it's producing a lot of roots, as you can see. So this one's going to have to get transplanted today. And then I'm going to have to trim off these flowers so it can spend more time into growing than producing. Now, this pepper plant, I happened to notice some things on it, and I was like, what in the world is going on with this one? These little bumps on it. I first thought it was some kind of disease. Technically, this is not, and it's not something that's contagious, so it doesn't go from plant to plant. What happens with this, it's called edema, or oedema, I think that's how it's pronounced. But it's caused by a few things. One, overwatering, fluctuation in temperatures, which we are getting that in the house due to the weather changing. But it's, you know, the fluctuations, the roots are absorbing more water, creating these bubble bursts in the plant. So what I've done is currently I've put in some more airflow over them. I'm using my ceiling fan. You can use a small tabletop fan, oscillating fan on a low setting, just to slightly give these guys some air and help dry this out a little bit. Overwatering can cause this as well. So I'm going to let this soil dry out a little bit because they are quite damp still. But adding more airflow and letting them dry just a tad bit, not completely dry, but just let them dry out in between watering, will help stop this effect on these plants. But it is nothing contagious. I actually pulled some of the leaves off. I wished I left them on. The top is still there, but when I learned more about it, I figured I'd go ahead and share with you, because a lot of people will see this in indoor growing plants when we're trying to acclimate them, get them to grow before we put them outdoors. And this is one of the main problems that happen on pepper plants, and occasionally can also happen to tomato plants. I had that happen last year too. But two of the biggest issues are flower producing and edema. So I hope I helped on fixing the issues on both of these. Now, I could go ahead and allow these to continue to grow out and sprout, but I'm not sure I want to do that. This poor plant really needs to grow some more. So I'm going to take my flowers off of this. And I have a few more seeds that I started at a later point. I'm waiting to see if they're going to grow now. And I have some other ones behind this, not on this particular plant. Right now, currently, this is all I have. So I want to change that. But I have 3 more seeds planted. We'll see what happens and how many of those come up. But those should not, they would have a better time of going outdoors and not flowering like these are. So I'm hoping this information is helping any of you all who may be running into these concerns on what do I do when I see this. So I thought I'd bring them up. In the meantime, we're buckling down the hatches here, y'all. This will hopefully, no guarantees, this weather has got a mind of its own, and hopefully we will see this as our last freeze, maybe frost, and we can start getting some things going here. So until next time, much love to each and every one of you from Parton's Heritage Homestead.